All right, can everyone hear me? All right. Good evening. The Clayton County Board of Education, I'm sorry, fiscal year 21, um, fiscal year 21 budget meeting is now called to order. The date is June 10th, 2020, and the time is 6 o'clock p.m. I will now start the meeting off by turning it over to Emma Benton from Business Services. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Superintendent Beasley, members of the Board of Education and Community. We have presented to the Board of Education in March 14, 2020, preliminary information pertaining to the FY20 2021 budget. And since that time, obviously, there have been a lot of changes, not only in our community, but in our nation, in our society. And as we all know, that COVID-19 has had a sweeping impact on our economy. As a result of that, we have some impacts of COVID-19 that's reflected in our FY21 budget. Fortunately, over 2019 and also this year, we've spent a lot of time as a Board of Education strengthening our General Operations Fund balance, and we're on track to strengthen it even more as we end this FY2020 school year. As a result, the district is planning, and it's included in the FY21 budget, to utilize savings from our General Operations Fund balance to offset the reductions that we're seeing from the state of Georgia as it relates to revenue. Because of low revenue collections and also because of high unemployment, we are projecting a decrease in local revenue, and those numbers are also included in the FY21 budget. Let's see. At this time, the recommendation is that the millage rate will remain as is, which is 20 mills. I've included all of the FY21 budget assumptions on the website, and the Board of Education also has that for their documentation and information, but I would just like to highlight just a few tonight. One that's included is an increase to the general operations budget of 7.3 million, and that includes expenditures for one-to-one devices for all students. As we continue to live in the world as we know it today, for virtual learning, we want to make sure that all of our students have access to computers. Also included in the FY21 budget, the superintendent is not recommending at this time any furlough days for employees. As I currently stated, that we've done a really good job over the last 2 years of really focusing in on the general operations budget and building our fund balance. So at this time, furlough days are not recommended. The superintendent recommends the tentative adoption of the FY21 budget as presented. The total consolidated budget is 694.1 million. And so the general fund is 487 million. The special revenue fund is 71.1 million. Capital projects is 89 million. The enterprise fund is 46.2 million for a total of 694 million. All of this information is included on the website under FY21 tentative budget. Included, I think there are 4 pages of documentation out there. So included is the total consolidated budget, and it is by revenue source as well as function. Also, we've included a draft of the FY21 teacher salary scale. We've included for the public a comparison of FY20 budget to FY21 tentative budget, and then all of the budget assumptions that are included in the FY21 tentative budget. Back to Dr. Anderson at this time.
Okay, I think Ms. Goree has come in now. Ms. Goree, are you in?
I am in,
All right. We're gonna try
but
to mute her.
you continue to control the meeting. I still can't do much since I have a new internet in my house.
All right, Sherry. At this time, are we taking any questions, Miss Smith? None.
Dr. Anderson, I have the questions that have been emailed.
Okay.
So you ready for me to start with question one?
Yes, sir, Dr. Beasley.
Okay. The first question is from Devondra Hicks. Her question is, are the funds for the music programs in Clayton County schools only being provided for the magnet schools? I think we all know the answer to that question, but we provide the music programs that exist in the entire school system. While the magnet schools may have unique programs, most, if not all, of our schools have music programs, and funds are used district-wide to support those programs. Ms. Benton, did I misstate anything?
Dr. Anderson, can you continue the meeting? I can't, my internet's not working properly.
Yes, ma'am. I'll continue the meeting. With Dr. Beasley is speaking now. All right. I'm sorry, Miss Benton.
I'm sorry, no, Dr. Beasley, you're on point.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's correct. So that's that question. You ready for me to go to question two, Dr. Anderson?
Yes, sir. Go to question number 2.
Okay. Question 2 is from Javetta Dreyer. Her question is, I'm trying to locate the tentative teacher salary schedule for fiscal year 2021. Where can I locate that document? Ms. Benton?
So the 2021 draft of the teacher salary scale is on the website, and I want to say that it's page 2. So if you go out to the district's website and click on FY21 tentative budget, and then it'll take you directly to the details that's included there, and it's page 2.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3 is from Daphne Berrien. She only made a statement. She said paraprofessionals need a little more pay. So we understand that statement, don't we?
We do. Yes, we do.
And then question number 4 is from Dr. Michael Seabury. And he has several comments. I want to read his comments and then read his questions, okay?
Okay.
Greetings, it's my pleasure to submit public comments regarding the fiscal year 21 budget below. 2020 CCPS Communications Department released a statement regarding protests and uprisings happening in our area as a direct result of overuse of police force ending the lives of Black men and women across America. This statement was timely and much needed for our community to see that our superintendent CEO is aware of the current events that affect the students we serve. However, it was disheartening to see that the statement did not specifically address the Black and brown lives that make up an overwhelming majority of students, faculty, and staff in this district. I remember my first day of work, August 1st, 2019, in Clayton County Public Schools. I arrived at Lovejoy High School eager and ready to do the work that is necessary to increase academic achievement among students who look like me. The administration team informed me that we were going on a field trip planning days. I was overly excited to walk into the Performing Arts Center to see all of the beautiful Black faces that were teachers and administrators in the district. This is the day that I knew that this district was my new home. We danced on the stage. I made new colleagues and friends across the auditorium. I left with a sense of pride for the district and for Lovejoy High School. That sense of pride was rocked as I read the statement released on May 30th. This statement, in response to racial uprising supported by Black Lives Matter, addressed all lives just as the anti-Black, anti-protest, oppressive citizens have done throughout the nation. The lives of students we serve hopefully sound politically correct. It may have say funding and or networking connections with those in power, but it did not serve the people for whom it was intended. I counted a total of 10 times where you chose to use the word all in bolded and italicized font. That is a total of 10 times in which you could specifically address and supported the Black and brown students in our district, our children, but did I reviewed the proposal for the 2021 school year and support of Black Lives Matter. I'm asking for more information regarding defunding of the CCPS police system, increasing the budget for instructional training, and providing services and spaces where our students can fully thrive and excel academically. So the questions that I pose to the Board of Education are as follows. Which funding category incorporates the CCPS police system? And what is the specific breakdown for expenditures within this system? Personnel, equipment, transportation. Number two, what does the 159% increase in other support services include? Number three, what effects will the 23% decrease in instructional training have on academic achievement with our students and professional growth of our faculty and staff? I'll end there because he also added some proposed solutions that the staff has on record. He offered some proposed solutions. So I'll tell you this, he said he read my statement, so I'll let him analyze my statement as he sees fit. But anybody that's bored and anyone else in our community knows when I say students, I'm talking about the students in Clayton County Public Schools, and that means all, and we know that 90% of them are Black, brown students. And so we'll let him continue to interpret those letters in the manner that he deems appropriate. But relative to defunding our police system, our police department serves a different purpose than what you would call a county-wide police department. And so this budget does not have any recommendations to defund our police department. And as a matter of fact, as your superintendent, I do not think that that's where we are as a school system. As a matter of fact, our school resource officers do a pretty good job of building a relationship with our students, and I anticipate they'll continue to do so. If there are, if you will, bad apples among our police department, as there are bad apples among our employee staff, we cross-address those employees. But Ms. Benton, what I was saying is that you respond to Q&A that will respond specifically to the breakdown of expenditures that he's requested and what the 159% increase is for, along with the impact of the 23% decrease, which we do not believe will negatively impact academic achievement. And so if you could just compile a Q&A and post that, then we can send that out to everyone.
Absolutely, Dr. Beasley. We will pull together all of the questions along with the responses. And of course, once we share them, we will post them to the website so that all
Very
can
good.
see.
Very good. And we have one more question, Dr. Anderson.
Dr. Beasley, hold on.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You are breaking up terribly.
Am I?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're close enough to the mic or what, but you're breaking up.
Okay, I'll try. Let me see if I can slow down a little bit. Just let me know. Put your finger up or something to let me know if I'm breaking up, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the last comment is from Shannon Curry. And her comments are brief. It says, the teacher's salary schedule has been frozen 2 times in the last 3 years, and the teachers have not received a raise from the district during this time. I don't think that's true, but I'll read it because that's what she wrote. As a result, many teachers have not received a step increase in several years. I don't think that's true either, but I'm reading it. Receiving the $3,000 raise from the state was a blessing, but it does not excuse the district's failure to provide teachers with a raise. It has been noted that the district has a healthy fund balance, but teachers continue to take a hard hit. Goal number 5 is to recruit, develop, and retain qualified and effective staff. It should be made clear that it is hard to retain the great, highly qualified and effective teachers when the district continues to make decisions that affect the salaries of those teachers. The questions are, what is the district's plan to fix the salary schedule to allow teachers to receive the step increases that have been lost as a result of 2 freezes? What is the plan to provide salary increases from CCPS and not so from the state?
You broke up,
So
Dr. Beasley. You broke up.
Okay, I broke up.
Yeah.
Did you hear on the question?
Say that question one more time.
Okay, the question is, what is it to fix the salary schedule?
One more
What
time.
is what is the district's plan to fix the salary schedule to allow teachers to receive the step increases that have been lost as a result of 2 freezes? That's one question.
Okay.
And what is the plan to provide salary increases from CCPS and not solely from the state. Did you hear the questions that time?
Yeah, we got those too.
Okay, those are the questions. So
Okay.
I'll start with the response and then I'll pitch it over to Ms. Benton, and of course, you all as board members, Ms. Goree may want to respond. The teachers did receive a salary increase last year, and Ms. Benton can confirm that. While Ms. Curry doesn't reference the years that salaries were frozen, I would imagine that I don't have those years in front of me, so I couldn't tell you every year that the salaries were frozen. But I want to remind the board in this community that you all did mid-year bonuses for several years prior to me becoming superintendent. And so those mid-year bonuses were provided technically to bump up salaries.
Yes.
And the salaries will be frozen this year because of the financial situation. It's our expectation that once we get through it, as we've communicated in the tentative budget, the compensation study and process will continue once we get through this financial situation that our entire nation and state is in. And that compensation study actually addresses salaries. I'll pitch it over to Ms. Benton, and then of course that concludes the questions that we have. I believe I've asked all the questions that were submitted.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley. So just very briefly, I agree with the superintendent. We did receive a overall salary increase, not just the teachers, but of course the teachers received it, and those increases, ranged anywhere from 7 to 10%. As the Board of Education is aware and the community is aware, over the last 2 years, or definitely, the last 18 months to 2 years, we've been looking at compensation overall at the district. And so as the Board of Education know, we presented at the board retreat how we fare in the region, how our teachers are paid compared to other teachers in the metropolitan area. And as the board knows, we had some great plans, but then COVID-19 hit. And so we have to step back, reevaluate, because we are projecting almost a $60 million decrease. And so at this time, I don't think it would be wise to give our employees a raise, and then we have to furlough, if that became an option, because we just don't have the money. We have to have a balanced budget. However, we know where we currently are in the metropolitan area. Our compensation phase 3 and phase 4 is just on hold for now. It's not that we're not going to do it, but it's on hold for now until we understand a little better how long this pandemic is going to last, how long we're going to be in a recession, as a nation. All of that plays into the type of revenue that we receive in.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all these technical issues. First of all, I believe that Shannon Carey is a man. I believe he's the teacher that's at Jonesboro High School. He has come and spoken to us for the past 2 or 3 years. And he is correct that his salary has been frozen because before Dr. Beasley came, however, we had our salary scale, we had employees. I'm not sure if he was on that odd scale or not, but his salary was frozen. And so since I don't have a salary scale before me now, I don't know what I can say about that, but that would be a concern. Right now, I think we just need to let the public know that the only reason we would be looking at, I guess, saying that we're freezing anyone is, we won't know until, I think the General Assembly will resume, I believe it's Monday, is that correct? And so
That's correct.
I'm not sure, they were trying to look at a raise. So I don't think we can really say raise or whatever until we find out what happens. And then we're looking at having another budget meeting. What is it, next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Yes. So I think we do need to let them know that. And also, as Ms. Benton said, we were looking at trying to decide whose salary we would increase, whether it be beginning teachers, middle, or at the top. So we are actually we were looking at something, but the pandemic kind of has us in a standstill right now.
Thank you for saying that, Madam Chair. I had a quick question / comment in that same spirit, which was, in case, when we get questions like this, I would hope we're not like, oh, this person's totally wrong, because there may be a world, especially knowing all that we know about our salary scale, there could be a world in which this person is on those affected scale levels, odd, even, middle, whatever we want to call it. And so, I just want to encourage us to think about either a way to get Mr. Curry the information he needs, or a way to adjust for people who are potentially just like him, who have been frozen for more than any of us may know, instead of, outright thinking that couldn't be true. Because I think that does apply to even a small group, even if it's at all. So thank you.
But and also, I would say that maybe if you all go back and look at his salary, that may be, look at where he's falling on the pay scale. I think unfortunately we did have the odd even, and I think that when he received the $3,000 raise, when it was given, I think he still ended up frozen. So if you all could just maybe look at that and see how it has affected our employees, because it is something that you did inherit, Dr. Beasley. And so I'm not sure, as I said, how the scale looks. If you all could supply us with a scale before the next budget hearing, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I wasn't trying to say his salary hadn't been frozen. The comment was that the teacher salary scale had been frozen 2 times, and I don't recall that it was been frozen 2 times in the last 3 years. That's what I was being clear about.
Right. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's something that you inherited. I believe it was like it was before you came. So if you have to go back and look at that, you might see what he's referring to. And then, like I said, when the governor did give the $3,000 raise, he was still on that step that didn't get an increase.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I got a question. So when they were saying last year, I thought we said we gave everybody a step that needed a step, or that was waiting on a step. So that wasn't so.
I'm thinking that person, everybody got the $3,000 increase regardless of the step. Is that correct?
No, but y'all was saying something about a
That's
step
correct.
and the 3,000, right?
Correct.
A step means,
Right.
a step means that they got the experience, like they get the year of experience.
Oh, not necessarily more money.
That's correct.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
But in the
So when
current,
y'all,
I'm sorry, Miss Williams.
Go ahead.
So in this current year, for FY20, everybody received a step, and all of the teachers on the T scale received a 3,000 plus a percentage increase. However, we at the district follow the state. So if you move from step to step based on experience, sometimes with the state, there's no increase on certain steps. So you may move from step 9 to step 10. And so with the state salary scale, there's no increase. So in that particular situation, all an employee would have received would have been the 3,000. Whereas,
so
It just depends on the step.
Right.
so when we freezing
It's
salaries,
excellent.
we freezing steps also. We freezing both.
No. When we freeze salaries, see, the step means they get the year of experience. What we do when we freeze salaries, whatever salary you made this fiscal year, that will be the same salary you make next fiscal year.
Correct.
But you still can get a step up,
Oh.
even if salary. You just won't get the money.
That's correct. You're right. You'll get the same salary.
In the past, though, a step meant experience and an increase in pay. And then
Right.
when we
And it
started,
should,
and
yeah.
when we started having problems with our budget, then we went to the getting a step for experience, but no money. That's why he's saying his salary is frozen. And that's the way I would feel too, that it's frozen because I'm not getting any increase.
Yeah.
So I think we need clarity on that. All right, the
Okay, yeah,
teachers
that makes
need
sense.
to understand.
Yeah,
Right.
this is also a learning opportunity for me. When we tell folks that they get a step increase, I have been assuming that that means they get the experience and the additional compensation. And so what actually happens is they get the experience move on the pay scale, but that does not mean for everyone that they get additional compensation. And I don't, if I'm just putting all that together, perhaps there are some community members and teachers who also have a misunderstanding about what it means to not have a frozen salary and earn a paying step. I think, we can be a little more explicit about what it really means.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
I think in a normal budget year, step means increase because you don't freeze salaries. But whenever a district freezes salaries and teachers get the steps, you do have to be very explicit. That means you get the year of experience, but your salary will be the same in the new fiscal year as it was in the previous fiscal year. And we do have to be very explicit with people in these types of situations, and this year being one of those fiscal situations.
All right, are there any other questions?
That was the last question.
My
Okay.
quick question.
All right.
Sorry. The budget that we're directed to online and the public as well is 4 pages, a couple of it's a 4-page PDF, and I would love to hear from Dr. Beasley or Ms. Benton. Is this the full, complete version of the fiscal year proposed 2021 budget?
It is. It is as we know it today. It is the proposed budget, the full. However,
They mean the
Ms.
detail,
Bowles,
Ms. Bowles, do you mean like
yes,
it doesn't include all the details, like the line by line details? Is that what you're referring to, Ms. Bowles?
That's exactly what I would love to have and see.
So we typically, Ms. Bowles, and you can see the information out there for FY20, we typically, and I think it's about 90 pages, we typically put all of that information out on the website once the Board of Education approves the budget, when the budget is approved, but not that level of detail for the tentative budget. As the board is aware, prior to Munis, we've been dealing with a very antiquated system. And so to produce 90 pages was a big deal. It's not as big of a deal in today's environment since we have a better system, but it still requires quite a bit of work. So we produce that level of detail, about approximately 90 pages after the budget is approved. But however, any information that the public wants to see, obviously we provide that information.
Yeah, so I think that is it just may be a philosophical belief difference here, but I think that when we put a budget up, we should put the full budget up, for not only for me and even trying to see and dig through some of this. I think it speaks to the transparency of our district, the ability of the public to actually discern some of the things that have come up tonight. And I think we're in a world and society where everybody anticipates cuts somewhere, because that's what we're all going to have to do to survive what's been a really tumultuous year. But I think one thing that could be cool is for people to look at where and and how you all have already started to think through some of that. And there's no way for any of us to have the best questions or conversations without the maximum amount of information. So the 90-page PDF would be a great link on the same menu that y'all put this 4-page PDF on maybe either the left bar, but I'd love it in my inbox also to start if you all don't think it's appropriate to share with the public.
So currently, Ms. Bowles, though, all of, we could see probably about 10 years of PDF information of budget, very detailed information that's on the website. But if you would go to page 3 of, I think it's like the 4 or 5-page document, you can see from a very high level by function where the decreases are. And that's why I think our third comment, he was asking very specific information out there. And so we'll provide that information when we provide a answer to his specific questions regarding the decreases. We'll go through and do that analysis.
I want to follow, excuse me, let me follow up on that. I think we need to go back to the procedure that we had before we pass. Tell me the date that we would pass the budget at this time. Are we looking at, what would be the date that we would pass the budget? Vote on it.
June 22nd.
Say that again.
June 22nd.
Okay. In the past, we have received a detailed budget. What Ms. Bowles is talking about putting on the website. That's what we've had that. I noticed probably last year, maybe we didn't get it. Matter of fact, I have several large binders that are still in my house right now. We need, everybody needs to see it, especially the public, because one of their main concerns, and mine too, are school taxes, and people do need to see what their money is going to. So please, we need a detail. Not only does the public need to see it, the board needs to see it before we take a vote on what the monies will be. Now that, that's a responsibility.
I think that will be provided once we submit the budget. That's always submitted when we present the budget to you all, because from the budget hearings, we may make adjustments, we may make tweaks, and then once we bring the recommendation for the budget, it includes those detailed documents.
Well, but it sounded to me, like I said, I'm having problems here with the internet, but I thought that Ms. Benton just said that we wouldn't do it until after it was passed. Is that not what you said?
Yes, Ms. Gorey. So so right now we're in the tentative phase, and as we know, even last year and prior years, sometimes there are changes between the tentative to the final. And so we'll get to a place where our budget is tighter, where our numbers are tighter, although I believe they're pretty tight now, but obviously we're still waiting on information from the General Assembly and all of that information. So as we get closer, we tend to publish that information right away. But if the board wants more detail, understanding that detail will change based on final recommendation. We're still at the tentative stage.
Well, it may change as a matter of fact, since we're doing virtual meetings and we're not having to come to the boardroom. I'm thinking maybe we might even need to look at changing the date of voting on the budget. Do we need to vote on the 22nd?
I agree, Madam Chair. I'd like to go so far as to just make it plain. I will be unable to vote in favor of a budget of which I have not seen at a detailed level.
Well, let's see what do we need to vote on it.
Let me make sure I'm clear, because I want to make sure I'm clear. When you get the recommendation for the budget, you will get the recommendation for the budget with the details. Am I not correct? Am I missing something here, Ms. Benton?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Dr. Beasley, we'll have more detailed level at that time. But
That's
we
what I
can
was thinking.
produce, we can produce detail now, but again, it's tentative. Things are,
Yeah,
as we
and
learn
I
more.
think we'd be more empowered with tentative information that may change than without any information that may stay the same. And I just want to say, even last week when I voted for the provisional budget and I made those caveats clear, this is one of them. I mean, at a fundamental level, I'm actually willing and more interested in a conversation with anyone who's unclear about why the public and the board need the full detailed budget before any vote. As a like even concept, I'd love to unpack and understand why that would be smart. But I just want to put out that like I encourage us to be flexible if our process is up for discussion and we can push back the vote to accommodate any one or more of these requests.
If the question,
Okay.
if the request is for details, it doesn't sound like that's an issue. We can put the details out there. We can put draft on it, and as long as everyone knows that that is not the final budget. And Ms. Benton, that's not
Right.
something that's difficult to do even today or tomorrow to post that information. That is not an issue. If we had known that this board wanted to see those details for the draft or the tentative budget, then we would have provided that information. And so we can, it's not an issue
Yeah.
at all. We believe in that transparency, and it's available to be shared.
Okay,
Hey,
let
Beasley,
me stop this because it's not, it's for the whole. What we need here, you're going to do a tentative budget. Let's see, you already have a tentative budget. We are having hearings today. We'll have another hearing next week. Right, correct? So once we
Correct.
finish with the tentative budget, we need to vote on the budget. So before we vote, you don't need, right now, you don't need the details. We need the
Right.
details after next week.
That's what I was sharing. That's what you
Right.
will get. You will get the details, but what I'm hearing Ms. Bowles say, she would like those details now with the tentative budget, and
Well,
we're okay. It doesn't matter. I'm just you all decide. We're okay either way as staff. We can do it either way. But just know that those details for the tentative budget will change
right.
even by the time you get the details for the budget that we will recommend to the Board of Education to adopt.
Well, we don't need details for the tentative budget. We need
That's why
details.
you don't have that, because that's been the practice clearly in the past.
Right. Number one reason we don't need details right now, because the General Assembly is going to meet next week, and we can't do our budget. Some things we can't put in there until after they make a recommendation.
I still look forward to. It sounds like they're available.
But wait a minute.
So
Okay, well, we can now. Let's see. We have enough. If you want details, that will be possible. But we don't generally do it like that. We have the hearings because we're trying to get input. So if you want to do deep, because what we got to remember here, and I don't have a problem, we can take a vote now. It's a we, it's not an I. So if the majority wants that's possible, but it's not. But it has to be we.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd be willing to vote with for we, but I also not trying to be funny. I really don't understand how it is not best to front load the transparency. And I know, and I've had, I love and have had interactions with all of you, but one of the worst ways, attention wise or rallying wise, is it's the way we've always done it. Like that is the worst explanation for anything, and to keep doing it. So because that's how we've always done it and we can improve, doesn't mean that we shouldn't think differently this year. And I like where Dr. Beasley was going with the idea that even though we haven't done it this way, if it's available and it's a click or an insert or an attachment, like let's just do it. But I also would love to vote so that the team can decide.
Well, okay, I'm sorry to try to take over. I think Mr. Christmas was probably about to say something. So let's get, if there's some more input, because the reason I'm saying this, you haven't seen what I'm talking about with detail. You haven't seen. I have a big binder here of paper, and it does not make sense for us to do that, which would be tentative. And so that's why I was saying we didn't need the details until after we did the because it's about, and we haven't produced it. I can't even tell you how many pages it would be. Now it could be a link, but even if you set to read it, it would be every detail for every single school. And like I said, it's to me it would be additional work because we don't have we see normally at this time we have information from the state, and that's where we're sitting at the question mark. So what my recommendation, and like I said, it's not an I, it's a we, is if we could even have maybe the team, maybe they get together and just send us some information like tomorrow to see what might be best or whatever. But we, as I said, we can do a vote tonight. And Mr. Christmas, go ahead. I think you wanted to say something.
I was simply getting ready to try to, was going to say that I understand what Ms. Bowles is saying. And we vote on something and we don't know every line item for line
Right.
item. And we I pastor a church and I can't vote on anything unless every line item is in detail. And so if we're going to vote for a budget, I understand what she's saying, that I need to see this because this is what you say you're going to spend it on. And then if things happen to change, then you can make that change. So I understand exactly what she's saying. And I think we should have that binder before we vote on the budget because it just makes more sense to me.
Right. And okay, so what you just said is what I said. I understand what she's saying too. We're all pretty much, she wants what she's saying that she wants right now. She wants all of the detail now. But what they're trying to explain is that if you get all the detail now, let's say it's done tomorrow, and then it's going to end up changing before we get to next Thursday. We're having the budget hearings. We do the detail once we get everything in order, and it will be before we vote. So we're saying the same thing, but she's saying she just wants the detail right now.
Right, I'm clear on that. I was clear on.
So I understand. I'm not going to pass a budget and not understand what we're passing either. Right. But we're just talking about looking at putting something in place, and then it ends up, then we're going to turn around. And I don't think we'll be getting. You were saying probably would be a link on the internet for the public, but then we may then decide we want paper. So if we're going to do paper, then
Madam Chair, this is Benjamin Straker. Can I make a statement?
Who is that?
Ben Straker.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. I can't see.
I don't see why it would be too much effort to actually give us those details now. And even though they are going to change, and we know that, what more effort is that going to cost us?
Well, it depends on how do we want it. Are we going to get it in a binder as we have done before? Or are we going to do it as a link? Are you sending in a PDF, or how's it going to be? I just don't want to wait for paper.
The PDF is fine. The PDF.
We can send it as a PDF. It's okay.
If we do a PDF, then
we can send you a link, and anybody who wants it to print it.
Say that again.
I said we can send it as a PDF or a link. Anybody who wants to print it. Everyone has.
Everyone has what?
I think he was saying we can post it as a PDF like this one, and people can print it as they want. But I think that sounds great, by the way. That sounds great. I don't want to, derail us. I look forward to another conversation, maybe in a board retreat or in a more appropriate space where we can unpack why we all wouldn't crave this even before. And I know how it's always been done, but I just think it equips us all to be better fiscal stewards, and this is one of our main jobs. Like, this is the one codified in the state constitution. Like, why not just give us all we could want with the condition it may change, versus even thinking about all the different ways, you know, we shouldn't or couldn't use it. It's just my personal opinion.
Okay, so the way it looks, we have Mr. Straker wants details now. Ms. Bowles wants details now. Who else wants details now? Mark, you want details now? Mr. Christmas?
I'll take the details now.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like the majority wants details. Let's see, Ms. Baker.
I wouldn't mind having it in a PDF where I can look. You know, I'm a tree hugger, and you
Right,
remember,
that's right.
you remember those are
Mhm.
4-inch binders that we
Yes.
get, and I don't need a 4-inch binder of paper, and so I would
Okay.
like it in a PDF.
Okay, so it looks like that's the what? Let me see. Is Ms. Johnson here somewhere? Yeah, there's Ms. Johnson.
Ms. Goree, just put it, I just say we just put it in a PDF and.
Yes,
for
no
Okay.
everybody.
problem.
All right, now if
Everybody
we're
can see.
clear,
Yeah.
okay, if we're clear that we want a PDF, because I don't want anybody now saying that, because when we said that about people pretty, you know, in the public, if they want to do it, but you know, we have a tendency here then to turn around and we say we want it printed, and if we're trying to be fiscally sound, we wouldn't want to have all of that printed.
Yes.
So we will the majority wants the details in a PDF, and that means that no one then will turn around and say they want it printed, because then we would be wasting money.
And we have stated
Time
that.
and money.
Exactly.
Yes, time and money. Yes.
All right.
But we do understand that this is definitely most likely going to change.
Yes, we do.
So we will need a whole new.
We've known
PDF.
that. Yeah, we've known that from the beginning. So let's go with the PDF, and then after that, we know that it's going to change once the General Assembly meets. All right, Ms. Goree.
Yeah, that's that's what we're going to do.
All right. Do we at this point in time, are there any other questions? All right, we're going to go on, and can I get a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
moved by Ms.
Second.
Goree and seconded by Ms.
Oh.
Baker. All right, is
Wait a
there
minute.
any?
Wait a minute. Wait, I think someone said Ms. Goree. Did you? Dr. Beasley, did you need something else?
No, that was it. I
Oh.
just made a note in the chat box. We'll get it all to you all. It's no problem.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. And the meeting is adjourned at 6:48 p.m. Thank you and have a wonderful night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night, Joe.